Hello everyone, and this is, oh no wait, no, I fucked up the intro already. This is an episode of Salsa Reviews, and today we have something very special for you today. We have sriracha salsa. Believe it or not, they somehow managed to cram an entire bottle of sriracha into a jar of salsa. So, let's get on to the review, shall we? So, straight away you can immediately notice the sriracha logo, so I don't even know if it's like related to them at all, like whether or not they're the same company made this stuff. I have no idea. It is made by Fong Foods Incorporated. I probably butchered the hell out of that, but fuck you. So let's crack open and see what it's like, shall we? Oh god, there's that pop that everyone loves, especially me. I'll be honest, I'm not very impressed by the smell here. I'm kind of reminded of like a spicy ketchup smell. I don't know why. Immediately it smells nothing like the sriracha sauce itself. Keep in mind, it's also like it's rated at a medium hotness rating. So, anyway, enough of all the smell and stuff, we gotta get on to the review of the salsa itself. So, for today we have traveled far and wide for this very special bag of chips. We've traveled to the goddamn Himalayas, for fuck's sake. But, we finally got it. Tostitos Scoops. Which is a nice chip to salsa ratio. The scoopability, it's alright. Like if you have like a kind of bowl like this, right? It would be very easy to kind of take your scoop and just kind of, you know, give her, right? But if you had like a flatter plate or a flatter chip, you'd have a bit of trouble getting the salsa on here. Just thought I'd point that out. Initial impressions of the salsa, it tastes nothing like sriracha. Like I said earlier, how it smelled like kind of spicy ketchup. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting with this. Like the only similarity is I can draw between sriracha salsa and sriracha sauce itself is the fact that the heat is sort of delayed. In that once you take your first bite, within like the first 5 seconds, you're like, huh, where's the spice? There's absolutely nothing here. This is some bullshit. And then once you keep chewing it, you're like, oh wait, there it is. The thing with a salsa, its spice delivery, it's not as good as the sriracha sauce itself. Granted, like they are traveling from one medium to another. They're going from a straight like sauce where you put on your hot dogs and fucking tater tots in the morning, whatever have you, to go into like this salsa that you use your chips with, right? So when you scoop it and put it in your mouth, you're thinking, oh man, this is going to taste exactly like sriracha sauce. But then you realize, this doesn't taste like sriracha at all. It's not a bad salsa. Like you can still enjoy it thoroughly. Like if you sit down and watch like a football game or something, you can still thoroughly enjoy the salsa. But keep in mind, even despite the label that's on here, you're not going to be getting like a sriracha flavored salsa. You'll be getting a sort of kind of generic salsa, except there's a lot of garlic there, and there's also a bit more spice than what you're usually used to. So if you're into that kind of crowd where you really like garlicky stuff or it's not salsa, very spicy things, then you'd be very well at home at this kind of salsa. But if you're expecting like a sriracha taste, you'll be kind of disappointed, just like my parents. I would relate this salsa to the color red, but in that the sriracha sauce itself is the color red. It represents passion. It represents love. It represents all those like fiery things, right? This sriracha salsa itself, it's sort of like a burgundy, in that it tries to ride on the whole legacy of red itself, but in reality, like burgundy, it's sort of like a more brown version of red. And burgundy looks like brown almost, which is the color is shit. This salsa is shit. But it's still okay. Overall, pretty good salsa. I must admit, I am somewhat disappointed in that it cannot live up to the legacy of red, but it's still an enjoyable shit brown salsa. So would I get it again? I kind of doubt it, knowing that it fails to follow in those footsteps. But if it was rebranded as something else entirely, then I might enjoy it a little bit more, knowing that it tries to be its own thing instead of trying to ride on the back of sriracha. And I shouldn't be too hard on them, because sure, they're trying to mimic what essentially is a spicy ketchup, right, in a salsa form. And with that, there's a bunch of technicalities. You have to work with the chip. You have to combine the flavors so that they don't conflict with each other. And from that standpoint, I guess I can understand their troubles. So that'll do it for this episode of Salsa Reviews, and we'll see you next time.